Howdy guys, this is Coach Lee, and I'm gonna jam for a second. It's got a good song here. I'm gonna turn it up for you. I don't know, sometimes you just gotta jam. I wanna talk about the things that I've seen as I talk with my people. I wanna talk about of the younger generation in this industry, how I think it looks, where I think the industry could be going, and I think maybe why they could be set up for a lot of success. I'm gonna start with the quote this time. Things work out best for those who make the best of how things work out. And sometimes, and I heard someone else say this phrase too, I don't remember who it was, but I always tell people, go happen to things. Don't let things happen to you. Now look, that's not realistic. You can't do that every time. And sometimes stuff happens to you. But it's really how you react and pivot from that defines what kind of person you are. In another video, I mentioned, the 10,000 hour rule, and I hear that one a lot from people, and I think it forgets about a couple of things. 10,000. I said in the last video, 10,000 hours of focus practice is something very different than 10,000 hours of wondering. In fact, 1,000 or 2,000 hours of focus practice is probably a heck of a lot more effective than 20,000 hours of just doing something. So consider sports. I played baseball, I played football, I played soccer, oder Fußball for meine deutschen Freunde. But really, not until I was much later in life, like just about 2 years ago, did I discover rock climbing. Never did it before. Fell in love with it, do it all the time. When I went to the front desk at the rock climbing place just the other day, I asked one of my buddies, hey, can you tell me how many times that I have been here this year? And his answer was, and by the way, it's November of 2025, so we're near the end of the year. And his answer was 128 times. I'm like, wow, that is a lot. I didn't ever feel like I didn't know I came that often. I'm focusing my practice on this because I've tried a ton of stuff. I've spent some of my 10,000 hours of that getting experience in everything that you could possibly imagine, sports related, mountain biking and other sports that I didn't even mention here. But then dedicated practice into the thing. Why does that matter? Well, that matters because if you're going to assume you're going to get out of school and you're going to do the one thing that you got a degree in, you're probably not. And that's okay. Like you might end up being a person with a programming degree that ends up in a finance job. It's okay if it allows you to lead yourself to where you want to be. Because here's the thing, what is rock climbing to me? It's exercise. I've never done weights in my life that I've enjoyed. I've never run track or long distance or any of those things and really enjoyed doing those things. But every single time I think about, oh, is it today gym day or rock climbing gym day? I can't wait. It still feels like fun. I want to do that activity. It does not feel like work. And I think there was an old phrase that says something like, love your job and you'll never work a day in your life. That's not realistic, but it does apply to other things than just job. I love rock climbing. And I know this isn't a video about rock climbing. If you'd like to see that, let me know, because I'll make a video about rock climbing for you. It's a video about figuring out what you really enjoy doing, not because you went to school for it, not because somebody said it would make money. It's figuring out what you want to do because you love doing it. Okay, so this is a marathon. It is not a race. These things do not happen overnight. You absolutely have to give yourself some time to develop it. And some of the things that are the most important that have ever happened in our life come from failures. The fear of failure often leads to the avoidance of failure. We are taught to avoid things that we don't enjoy, and we're punished, or we feel punished for those things. I'd say lean into your failures and see what you can learn from them, because actually you learn a lot more from failure than winning. And you know this is nothing magical. This is nothing you've never heard before. I need you to listen and hear me, because you've heard it, but you're not processing it. Our failures define us in a way that allows us to grow forward. What we want to do in the future is typically born out of our failures. So, what is the disruptor? As a younger member of the workforce, what makes you a disruptor? You don't have a particularly long sheet of accomplished work yet, But what you do have, and I think this is super important, if you think about like the Batman movies, Bane, right? Batman fought Bane at one point in time. He turned the lights out thinking that that would give him an advantage. And Bane absolutely demolished him because Bane was like, oh, you adopted the darkness. I was born in the darkness. So consider this, consider this, Bane. You were entering the market or completing your college about the time that COVID started disrupting the entire industry and everybody went home. Everybody. My child's kindergarten class was remote. Everybody who spent 20 or 30 or 40 years in an industry suddenly was finding themselves unable to figure out how to adapt remote. You started there. So you've had to adapt to never having met some of your coworkers, whereas that's not something common for myself, right? You had to adapt to always being virtual. You have always had some form of AI in your life. You've always had a tablet in your life. You've always had a cell phone in your life. These are things that other people have had to adapt. And older people, if you hear me, you'll say, well, we've always had this stuff. Yeah, think about email. You've always had email in your life. But was there a time that some of the people exiting the industry was like, I even remember before there was email? Yeah, you could probably still find some of those people. And they probably hated email for the first 5 years because they didn't adapt. You guys can adapt quickly if you are coachable, and most importantly, if you're carrying a positive and good attitude, then there is a ton of runway for you to take advantage of all this chaos that has happened in the last half decade. So that's why I say this is a message of hope. I want you guys to know that if you are coachable with a good attitude and you're hungry to learn, trust me, the future does belong to you guys. And that's not to say that the people like me, the old guys, have nothing left to offer. We have to adapt as well, guys. So what can you do? Back to what I was saying earlier. Embrace your failures. Find something that lets you reset. Because all of this, all the layoffs, all the challenges, all the difficult job hunts, all the extra work added to those who remain. If you're watching this as someone who's remained with some survivor's guilt, I feel you. I was there last year too, by the way. Don't take it personal. It isn't about you. If you make it about you, it creates a spiral of, I don't feel worthy. Wasn't about you. It's not about your worth. These big company layoffs, not about you. Not being selected for a particular role, it probably wasn't about you at all. It wasn't that you aren't good and capable, and if somebody gave you the chance, it was that somebody was looking for a different thing or thought they had found it in someone else. But not because they didn't think they didn't find it in you, unless, and this is where you should maybe take it a little personal, somebody tells you something about maybe you just didn't have a good attitude. The attitude is something that's it's not necessarily uncoachable, but it is something that you don't even realize that chip is on your shoulder. And you take it with you into interviews, you take it with you into the way that you talk about your previous employer if you have to, you take it with you in all your conversations, and that can be a source of, let's call it energy drain or something. And without that, you might give yourself better chance. You might improve your chances with a positive attitude. Steadfast, consistent progress. Determined, but not discouraged. That's the mentality that you have to keep. And when you get into a headspace where you feel like that is slipping and you're losing your advantage, you're losing your rock, then do the following things right here. Remember that you want to be easy to work with. What does that look like? What are other people that you find are approachable and easy to work with? How can you assess that and apply it to your life? Self-reflect. Self-reflect and seek feedback from people that you trust that will give you honest answers. Not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear with love so you can grow. Research emotional intelligence. A lot of the people that I've spoken with have components of it, but don't know what that is. Define it so you can measure it, so you can improve it. Anyways, that's it for now. Go do something good.